Good morning and welcome to Bible in a Year. As we are on day 54, we're going through the Bible from Genesis to Revelations in 365 days. We're going to be reading in the New International Version. My name is Pastor Jay Lutz, and right now we're going through the period of desert wanderings. And we'll be reading Numbers 3, Deuteronomy 3, and Psalm 87. Now, Numbers 3, the Lord talks to Moses and Aaron on Mount Sinai, explaining what the duties of the tribe of Levi were in order to support and assist Aaron with the tent of meeting and Aaron's two sons. Deuteronomy 3 talks about the Israelites and how they face off against the army of Bashan, 60 cities in all, and all were taken from the king of Og of Bashan, and God divided up the land and plunder and forbids Moses from crossing the Jordan. Then 87 Psalm is a psalm of Korah. The psalm is a psalm of confidence because it's proclaiming about the city of God. So let's get into it. Chapter 3 of Numbers. This is the account of the family of Aaron and Moses at the time the Lord talked with Moses on Mount Sinai. The names of the sons of Aaron were Nadab, the firstborn, and Abihu, Eleazar, and Ithamar. Those are the names of Aaron's sons, the anointed priests, who were ordained to serve as priests. Nadab and Abihu, however, fell dead before the Lord when they made an offering of an unauthorized fire before him in the desert of Sinai. They had no sons, so only Eleazar and Ithamar served as priests during the lifetime of their father Aaron. The Lord said to Moses, "Bring the tribe of Levi and present them to Aaron as priests to assist him. They are to perform duties for him and for the whole community at the tent of meeting by doing the work of the tabernacle. They are to take care of all the furnishings of the tent of meeting, fulfilling the obligations of the Israelites by doing the work of the tabernacle. Give the Levites to Aaron and his sons. They are the Israelites who are to be given wholly to him. Appoint Aaron and his sons to serve as priests. Anyone else who approaches the sanctuary must be put to death." The Lord also said to Moses, "I have taken the Levites from amongst the Israelites in place of the first male offspring of every Israelite woman. The Levites are mine, for all the firstborns are mine. When I struck down all the firstborns in Egypt, I set apart for myself every firstborn in Israel, whether man or animal. They are to be mine. I am the Lord." The Lord said to Moses in the desert of Sinai, "Count the Levites by their families and clans. Count every male a month old or more." So Moses counted them, as he was commanded by the word of the Lord. These were the names of the sons of Levi: Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. These were the names of the Gershonites: Libni and Shimei. The Kohathite clan: Amram, Izhar, Hebron, and Uzziel. The Merarite clans: Mali and Mushi. These were the Levite clans according to their families. To Gershon belonged the clan of the Libnite and Shimeites. These were the Gershonite clans. The number of all the males a month old or more who were counted was 7,500. The Gershonite clans were to camp on the west behind the tabernacle. The leader of the families of the Gershonites was Eliasaph, son of Lael. At the tent of meeting, the Gershonites were responsible for the care of the tabernacle and tent, covering the curtain at the entrance to the tent of meeting. The curtains of the courtyard, the curtain at the entrance of the courtyard, surrounded the tabernacle and altar, and ropes and everything related to their use. To Kohath belonged the clans of the Amramites, Izharites, Hebronites, and Uzzielites. These were the Kohathites clans. The number of all the males a month old or more was 8,600. The Kohathites were responsible for the care of the sanctuary. The Kohathite clans were to camp on the south side of the tabernacle. The leader of the family of the Kohathite clans was Elizaphan, son of Uzziel. They were responsible for the care of the ark, the tabernacle, lampstands, the altar, the articles of the sanctuary, used in ministry, and the curtains and everything related to their use. The chief leader of the Levites was Eleazar, son of Aaron, the priest. He was appointed over those who were responsible for the care of the sanctuary. To Merari belonged the clans of Malites and Mushites. These were the Merarites clans. The number of all the males, a month old or more, who were counted was 6,200. The leader of the families of the Merarite clans was Zuriel, son of Abihail. They were to camp on the north side of the tabernacle. The Merarites were appointed to take care of the frames of the tabernacle, its crossbar, post, bases, and all its equipment, and everything related to their use, as well as the posts of the surrounding courtyard with their bases, tent pegs, and ropes. Moses and Aaron and his sons were to camp to the east of the tabernacle, towards the sunrise, in front of the tent of meeting. They were responsible for the care of the sanctuary on behalf of the Israelites. Anyone else who approached the sanctuary was to be put to death. The total number of Levite counted at the Lord's command by Moses and Aaron according to their clans, including every male a month old or more, was 22,000. The Lord said to Moses, "Count all the firstborn Israelite males who are a month old or more, and make a list of the names. Take the Levite for me in place of all the firstborns of Israelites, and the livestock of the Levites in place of all the firstborns of the livestock of the Israelites. I am the Lord." So Moses counted all the firstborns of Israel, as the Lord commanded him. The total number of firstborn males, a month old or more, listed by name, was 22,273. The Lord also said to Moses, "Take the Levites in place of all the firstborns of Israel, and the livestock and the Levites in place of their livestock. The Levites are to be mine. I am the Lord, to redeem the 273 firstborn Israelites who exceeded the number of Levites. Collect 5 shekels for each one, according to the sanctuary shekel, which weighs 20 gerahs. Give the money for the redemption of the additional Israelites to Aaron and his sons." So Moses collected the redemption money for those who exceeded the number redeemed by the Levites. For the firstborn of Israelites, he collected silver weighing 1,365 shekels, according to the sanctuary shekel. Moses gave the redemption money to Aaron and his sons, as he was commanded by the word of the Lord. Friends, our first reading, our second reading comes from Deuteronomy chapter 3. Next we turned and went up along the road towards Bashan. And Og, king of Bashan, with his whole army marched out to meet us, the battle of Edrei. The Lord said to me, "Do not be afraid of him, for I have handed him over to you with his whole army and his land. Do to him what you did to Sihon, king of the Amorites, who reigned in Heshbon." So the Lord our God also gave into his hands Og, king of Bashan, and all his army. We struck them down, leaving no one survivor. At that time we took all his cities. There was not one of the 60 cities that we did not take from them. The whole region of Argob, Og's kingdom in Bashan. All these cities were fortified with high walls and with gates and bars, and there was also a great many unwalled villages. We completely destroyed them, as we had done with Sihon, king of Heshbon, destroying every city, woman, man, and children. But all the livestock and the plunder from their cities were carried off for ourselves. So at that time we took from these 2 kings of the Amorites the territory east of the Jordan, from the Arnon Gorge as far as Mount Hermon. Hermon is called Sirion by the Sidonians. The Amorites called it Senir. We took all the towns on the plateau and all Gilead and all Bashan as far as Salakah and Edrei. Towns of Og's kingdom in Bashan. Only Og, king of Bashan, was left of the remnants of the Rephaites. His bed was made of iron and was more than 13 feet long and 6 feet wide. It is still in Rabbah of the Ammonites. Of the land that we took over that time, I gave the Reubenites and the Gadites the territory north of Aroer, by the Arnon Gorge, including half the hill country of Gilead, together with its towns, the rest of Gilead, and also all of Bashan, the kingdom of Og, I gave to the half-tribe of Manasseh. The whole region of Argob in Bashan used to be known as the land of the Rephaites. Jair, a descendant of Manasseh, took the whole region of Argob as far as the border of the Geshurites and the Maacathites. It was named after him, so that to this day Bashan is called Havoth Jair. And I gave Gilead to Machir. But to the Reubenites and the Gadites I gave the territory extending from Gilead down to Arnon Gorge, the middle of the gorge being the border, and out to the Jabbok River, which is the border of the Ammonites. Its western border was the Jordan and the Arabah, from Kinnereth to the Sea of the Arabah, the Salt Sea, below the slopes of Pisgah. I commanded you. At that time the Lord your God has given you this land to take possession of it. But all your able-bodied men armed for battle must cross over ahead of your brother Israel. However, your wives, your children, your livestock, I know how much livestock, may stay in the town I have given you until the Lord gives rest to your brothers, as he has to you, and they too have taken over the land that the Lord your God is giving them across the Jordan. After that, each of you may go back to the possession I have given you. At that time I commanded Joshua, you have seen with your own eyes all that the Lord your God has done to these two kings. The Lord will do the same to all the kingdoms over there where you are going. Do not be afraid of them. The Lord your God himself will fight for you. At that time I pleaded with the Lord, O sovereign Lord, you have begun to show to your servant your greatness and your strong hand. For what God is there in heaven and on earth, who can do the deeds and the mighty works you do? Let me go over and see the good land beyond the Jordan, that fine hill country and Lebanon. But because of you, the Lord was angry with me and would not listen to me. That is enough, the Lord said. Do not speak to me any more about this matter. Go up to the top of Pisgah and look west and north and south and east. Look at the land with your own eyes, since you are not going to cross this Jordan. But commission Joshua and encourage and strengthen him, for he will lead this people across and will cause them to inherit the land that you will see. So we stayed in the valley near Beth Peor. There ends the second reading. And our last reading is Psalm 87, a song of the sons of Korah. He has set his foundation on the holy mountain. The Lord loves the gates of Zion more than all the dwellings of Jacob. Glorious things are said of you, O city of God. I will record Rahab and Babylon among those who acknowledge me. Philistia too, and Tyre, along with Cush, and will say, this one was born in Zion. Indeed, of Zion it will be said, this one and that one were born in her, and the Most High himself will establish her. The Lord will write in the register of the peoples, this one was born in Zion. As they make music, they will sing, all my fountains are in you. There ends the reading. This is a beautiful psalm about God's dwelling place. The Lord loves the gates of Zion more than all the dwellings of Jacob, so more than all the land. The mountain was a symbol of the high place by which God would meet with the people, and together they would meet in this place that symbolizes the unity between the people of God and God. And so I love this. As they make music, they will sing, all my fountains are in you. There's fountains, it says, that flow from heaven and reach out into the rest of the world. It's a picture of God, God's serenity, but also his reaching out to all the nations of the earth and wanting them to drink from his water of life, from the Spirit, and so that one day they will be together with God in his kingdom. So our other reading we see Deuteronomy chapter 3. We see the defeat of Og, king of Bashan. God hands over this. So these are two tribes of the Amorites. The Amorites being those who were hard-hearted and did not want to let the people of God through, and so God gave all the land over to the people. And especially here we hear about giving it to the descendants of the half-tribe of Manasseh. We hear about the leader, Jair, who is the descendant of Manasseh. And so he is given a large portion of this land leading up to the Jordan. And so, but they can't cross the Jordan because we see Moses is forbidden because him and the people are a symbol of those who have been disobedient to the will of God. And so Joshua is then instead given the mantle to be passed on, while he will take the people into the promised land. Now, that doesn't mean that Moses is seen as unfaithful to God. He's very faithful, and he lives many years, 120 years, and it says his energy was unabated, and he talked to God pretty near face to face, even though it's not supposed to see his face. But he has such a strong relationship with God that's the way it's spoken of. So, I mean, we feel sorry that Moses can't make it in, but Moses already sees the glory of God. Also, we talk about Numbers chapter 3 and counting out the Levites so that they replace the firstborn. So I think that's a really important detail, is God was to have the first fruits of things. The firstborn was to be dedicated to God. But in replacement of them, the tribe of Levite was given in replacement of every firstborn. And so they were given to work in the temple for the firstborn. And so they number them just so they know how much there is, and they end up, there's only a difference of 273 between the people of Levite. So there's 22,000 Levites, and there's 273 extra firstborn. And so we see here that they, in order to redeem the 273, they leverage this tax against the people, and they collect for this redemption money for this, and so it evens everything out. And so the firstborns don't actually have to serve, be dedicated to the Lord and serve the Lord as temple priests, but the Levites are the symbol of that. So it's interesting. I have had many people ask me, well, what happens with the firstborn? Well, the firstborn was actually supposed to be the ones who would be dedicated to the church, and the church, aka the priests of the tabernacle, were to care for it. But in replacement of these firstborn, we get the tribe of Levi. So this really clarifies quite a bit of what happens. The symbolic firstborn are now the tribe of the Levites. But that doesn't mean that somehow the firstborn are off the hook to do whatever they want. They're still to dedicate their lives to God. And so we as well are supposed to dedicate our lives to God and give of our first fruits to God, that we might glorify and praise him, sola Deus gloria, that we glorify God above all things. May you glorify God above all things. I ask that you might continue to pray for me as we go through this Bible in a year. My prayer for you is that you might, as you read through this Bible in a year, you might be filled with God's presence, that you might grow in that fear and understanding of the Lord, and that your days may be many. Have a blessed day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.